Well, hey, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're taking a look at the XVive A58 guitar wireless system. So XVive was kind enough to send this over for me to review, and we're going to be taking a look at it in depth in this video. We're going to start by unboxing it, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about the features, and then I'm just going to take it out and use it live. So I've got about a week of shows that I'm getting into starting tomorrow, and I'm going to charge the unit tonight, and then I'm going to show up to the gig and plug it in, and I'll report my findings. So I'll just do a quick wrap of the features here before I unbox the unit. So they're saying 5.8 gigahertz wireless system. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. 24-bit audio, up to 5 hours of battery life. So that's going to be something that I'm definitely going to be able to test in its entirety. So I think the longest show that I'm going to be playing with it is going to be around 4 hours, but you know, with sound check and stuff like that, and having the guitar system or wireless system on, it's probably going to get close to that 5 hour mark. So it's going to be interesting to see if the transmitter receiver kind of reach those manufacturer suggested numbers. There's 6 wireless channels, and they're promising less than 5 milliseconds of latency. But it's going to be interesting to see how this product fares in the real world, and putting it up against a bunch of different wireless interference that it may encounter, and we'll see how if my guitar tone suffers at all. So I'm really looking forward to taking this out tomorrow. Alright, so let's take a quick look at what you get in the box. So I'm just looking at it now. First time with you guys. Alright, so in the box, you obviously get the product itself. That's a carrying case. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then you get, obviously, owner's documentation, some stickers, and then they have a little product brochure as well. And the actual unit itself comes in this nice carrying case, which is really handy actually. You can throw that in the top of my guitar case basically. And then inside you have, try not to drop this here, but you have the transmitter and receiver, and then a charging cable up top. So the receiver and transmitter themselves, they look like that. And obviously if you've watched any of the documentation videos, you can see that these ends fold out, whether you're playing a Les Paul or a Tele or a Strat. You should be able to accommodate any one of those instruments with the flexible 1/4-inch cable here. And that's basically all you get. So you also get I guess a charging cable, which is pretty standard. Unfortunately, it's got type A on the one end that you're going to plug into the wall. But I was wondering about this, and I didn't look in the box before I opened it up for the first time here, but if you had a Y cable with the 2 USB type C's, so you could plug both the receiver and the transmitter in at the same time, and it looks to be the case. So that is a big plus, because obviously it would just be something that I would do where I would plug in just the receiver, for example, and forget to charge the transmitter, and then show up to the show and wouldn't be able to use the unit because one of them is dead. So that's basically all you get in the box. It's a pretty plug-and-play setup from what I understand, and the only way I know how to test these things is to use them in the wild and use them in a live situation. I'm actually not even going to use them in my studio here. I have to run out to about a week-long stint of shows here tomorrow morning, so I'm going to charge these and just throw them in my guitar bag, and let's see how they do out in the wild. It does operate on the 5.8 gigahertz wireless spectrum, so it should lead to a little bit less interference than the 2.4 spectrum that some older units used, but we'll see. You're able to switch the wireless frequencies on the unit, and the receiver will actually scan for frequency that is clean or clearer than the other ones. So let's take a look and see how it does in the wild. Alright, so I'm at my gig here. I'm about to break this out, and I'm going to see how it sounds. So I haven't even turned these on yet, so hopefully you can hear what I'm about to do here. I got my receiver and the transmitter, so this is going to go into the guitar. Switch it on. Turn this one on. Seem to be talking to each other. Plug it in here. Now, I might be getting some interference here. There's a lot of wireless going on, so I may have to switch out the channels to see if we can get signal. Get a signal. I gotta turn my amp on.
I'll grab my ears real quick. I'll be right back. Should be good. That girl that day ended up being Miss Laney Wilson, believe it or not. We got a call about 3 weeks ago. We're super pumped.
So it's been a couple weeks since I got to use the XVive system, and I'm going to talk about my findings and things that I both like and don't like about it. So as you can see from that video clip, it's super easy to use, really straightforward. You turn the transmitter and the receiver on, and then if you need to scan for a new channel, you just push and hold the mode button on the receiver, and then you set the transmitter to that channel after it has finished its scan. It's all laid out nicely in the owner's manual. That's something I didn't even look at until finishing up this video because I wanted some specific statistics on the wireless unit. So yeah, it was super easy to use. In terms of battery life, most of my shows were under 5 hours in length, so I wasn't able to kind of run it right from full to empty. My longest show that I played with it was about 4 hours, and I found that the indicating LED went from green to yellow, and according to the manual, a yellow power status LED means the battery was somewhere from 6 to 40%. So it's quite the range, but I did not see it in terms of turning from yellow to red, because solid red light is apparently 1 to 5%, and then a blinking red light is less than 1%. So interestingly, on that gig that I videoed in terms of the first setup and stuff like that, the bass player that I was playing with had a Shure wireless unit, and he was getting a lot of interference and static and that kind of thing through his wireless, and ended up just using a cable for the show. With the A58 system, I didn't have any sort of those issues. I don't know if his wireless system was maybe a little bit older and operated on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. I don't really know, but it was kind of interesting because I literally unpacked it, put one end in my guitar and the other end in my pedal board, and turned them on, and it worked instantaneously. In terms of overall build of the unit, it is $149, $159, somewhere in there. So you're not going to expect, metal construction and stuff like that. It is plastic. It is something that if I was going to take repeatedly on the road, I would probably worry about it a little bit with the 1/4-inch jacks that kind of swivel on the unit. If you were to drop one of these things, I don't know to what extent it would survive. They are just basically made of plastic. But that being said, obviously they're fitting this within a certain price range, and the fact that you can get a solid wireless unit for under $180, let's say, is fantastic and a fantastic deal. And the fact that this worked as well as it did over the few shows that I play with it, I'm very happy that I have been able to review this product. In terms of my guitar tone, I didn't really notice any difference. I kind of A-B'd it between the A58 and my Shure unit, and I think they operate on the same spectrum, so I expected similar results. You're not dealing with companding and stuff like that. So I noticed no difference in my guitar tone, which is always a positive and something to consider when you're shopping around for wireless units. And in terms of range, I honestly didn't test the full extent of the range. I was never really more than about 20 feet from the receiver with my guitar, just the stages that I was playing and the venues that I was in. I wasn't going out into the crowd or anything like that. So I didn't really have a chance to test the stated range of the A58, but I imagine you're probably going to get, 50 to 60 feet ideally, in terms of if you got clear line of sight to the receiver. But I probably wouldn't go in terms of like anything past that. You're just basically really getting to the limits of what this product is capable of, and it states on the box that it's a shorter range type of product, which is fine. And then discussing things that I didn't necessarily like, I talked a little bit about the build quality. That was something that I would hesitate to recommend if you're looking for something that's really bulletproof and it's going to hold up on the road. I think if you took care of the product, which I tend to always try to take care of my stuff as best I possibly can, but sometimes accidents happen. I think that you'd be okay. I think it's more maybe a prosumer level wireless, and that's fine as well. The other thing that I didn't love was the layout of the status indicators and that kind of thing. I found, that it just got a bunch of LEDs that essentially light up, tell you what channel and whether there's communication between the transmitter and the receiver. It would have been nice to have maybe some sort of screen that I could have saw from a standing position, as opposed to trying to squint and see whether the channel was on number one and then trying to match it up with what channel my transmitter was on. I did have one instance where I must have bumped the channel switch on the receiver and it put it to channel 2, and I couldn't figure out because I didn't even think about the fact that I would have changed the channel on the receiver. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting any signal, and that was the issue. And I think maybe if there was maybe an LED screen or LCD screen, something like that, that would have been a little bit easier for me to figure out, because basically you're stuck with a handful of little tiny LEDs that you have to squint at when they're right in front of your face. So that was basically my only complaint about it. Again, I'm trying to keep in mind the fact that this is a budget product, and for the performance that it offers at this price, I think it's a great value. If you're in the market for a wireless unit that will not break the bank and still retains your original guitar tone, and you can get some pretty decent battery life out of, the XVive would be a top contender in my experience. So if you found that review helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and do hit the like button on the video. It does help me out quite a bit. Please drop any questions or comments you have down in the comment section, and I will try my best to get back to them. And as always, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.